We continue back in Isaiah 25 and verse 2. For you have made a city a ruin, a fortified city a ruin, a place of foreigners to be a city no more. It will never be rebuilt. Therefore, the strong people will glorify you. The city of the terrible nations will fear you. Verse 4, for you have been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shade from the heat. For the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. And so God is talking about being our Redeemer, being our Savior, being our strength in our time of need, being our refuge in the midst of the storm, being a wall to us to protect us from the fierce wrath of our enemies. This is what is coming. This is what Isaiah is saying is coming. The terrible nations, the wicked nations, are going to be judged by God in this day, and they will no longer be able or allowed to hurt God's people or his children, or to hurt the little children, the innocent ones, the widows, the poor, and the orphans that God cares so much for. It's interesting that basically what Isaiah is saying here is that God will meet whatever need you have. I love verse 4. For you have been a strength to the poor. You have been a strength to the needy in his time of distress, a refuge from the storm, a shade to protect from the heat. For the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. That in essence, he's saying, God, you are whatever our need is. Whatever our need is, you meet that need. And that is indeed true with God. That is what God said pretty much to Moses when God appeared to Moses in the burning bush. And Moses wanted to know what his name was. And he said, what is your name? If you don't tell me your name and I go to your people and tell them that you appeared to me and that they're supposed to follow me. Moses said, I don't speak well and I stutter and, you probably chose the wrong guy. And Moses was trying to find excuses and reasons not to go and to do what God was calling him to do. And he says, what is your name that I may tell your people when they ask me your name? And he says, tell them my name is I am. I am that I am. And that word I am, or that phrase I am, is where we get the Hebrew word Yahweh from, or Jehovah. And again, we don't know how to really pronounce it because Moses did not record the vowels for us. He only recorded the consonants, the YHVH. So we don't know what the vowels are, so we don't really know how to properly say the name of God. We come up with Yahweh or Jehovah. It's probably the best that we can get into English. But the meaning of the word Yahweh or Jehovah, the YHVH, is the tetragrammaton, or the great I am, that God is saying, I will be to you whatever your need is, I will meet your need. I will be to you whatever you need from me as your God. And indeed, the Lord is that wonderful, wonderful friend to each one of us in this way. He is the one, no matter what you're facing, no matter what trouble you find yourself in tonight, he will meet you right where you're at if you will turn to him, and he will be sufficient to meet your every need, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your marriage, whether it's with your finances, whether it's with your job, whatever it is, relationships or whatever. Whatever your problem is, God is sufficient to meet you in your time of need. Matter of fact, that's where he works his greatest wonders in our lives, is when we're desperate and we're hopeless and we have no other chance or hope except for God. And that is what he delights in, is when we turn to him in our times of greatest need, because then he could really show us who he is and how glorious he is and how magnificent and marvelous he is to his children. He is the becoming one, is literally what Yahweh means. The becoming one is what it means, literally, the YHVH, that he's becoming to you whatever your need might be. What a great and awesome God that we serve.